Ayo, what is going on? It's your boy X coming at y'all with a brand new video, and as you guys can see, we're back here with another tier list because 2K decided that today was not a day that we were going to be getting content. So here we are with the PG's tier list. We've done the centers through the shooting guards. Already linked to those will be down in the description, so if you guys want to check those out, they will be there. And make sure you guys drop a like on this video as well as subscribe if you guys are new. Doing a bunch of these throughout the rest of 2K20 so you guys know everything about the game. And the first few of these cards will be some of the new ones that did drop in the last week or so, including yesterday's token rewards drop, which is going to be fun even though there's only one. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. And first off, we have Gilbert Arenas, one of the cards that dropped yesterday in yesterday's token market update. And for me personally, this is going to be a bit of a weird one to rank because I feel like Gilbert is a really good 6'3" PG, but I feel like that's really all he's got, and it's leading me to kind of want to throw him into the B tier. I feel like Gilbert, if Gilbert was maybe 6 foot or taller, we could talk about how great he is in other aspects, but I think B tier is kind of suiting for him at this point. Next up, we have the Galaxy Opal Sleepy Floyd, who's actually a pretty decent PG. Has the Tyreke Evans base, not one that I really have too much experience with, so I can't tell you how great it is, but it's definitely not too bad. He's got some decent tendencies, some actually pretty good stats besides a low interior defense and a decent strength as well. I don't really think that he's a bad card by any means, but he has a decent jump shot and a pretty low driving dunk. So I think for me personally, Sleepy Floyd is going to have to fall down into the C tier, sorry. He's just not really one of those cards that I'm looking to pick up, I guess. But next up, we have Pink Diamond Dante Exum, who I feel like is a card that has so much potential to be absolutely insane, because if you guys didn't know, Dante Exum's actual release is so money. He had a Ruby, and it was one of the best budget PGs in the game for the longest time. But for some reason, they changed Dante Exum's release to Jump Shot 4, which is not a bad release by any means. It's the same one that Larry Keenan, Kevin McHale, Gerald Wallace, Dino Raja have, and it's actually a really good jump shot. But the thing about it is, it's not the greatest for your PG. It's not one that I think your PG should be using and is too great for him. So I think it made our potential, A to S tier, PG down to only about a B tier. And that's just because Dante Exum's release is a release that they use in Park, which is super cheesy and is super nice. But sadly, he has fallen from grace. Next up, we have the Galaxy Opal LaMelo Ball, which honestly is now right now my starting PG when it comes to my team, just because he's so cheap. This LaMelo Ball is only I think a 10-ish KMT, and definitely has some noticeable downsides from the Galaxy Opal. Doesn't have as good of a post game, doesn't have as good of interior defense, is a little bit slower, can't shoot the 3-ball as great, and obviously is missing some badges, but all of the key ones that you would want, I think this LaMelo Ball has. And also has, on the negative side, not as great of tendencies for him. So obviously that hurts him a little bit. So I think the Opal LaMelo Ball is obviously going to be an S tier, but I think this Pink Diamond is a beautiful pick sitting in there at A tier. It's just such a good card. I love the LaMelo Ball. I think everybody needs to pick him up and try out that base 38 because it's just gorgeous. Next up, Galaxy Blake Griffin is a card for me that is a little bit difficult to rank because I love Blake Griffin's, jump shot and everything about him, but at the PG sometimes he just feels a little weird. But his, jump shot's great. He has some actually decent dribbling moves. I'm not going to say that they are, absolutely top tier, but in the half court setting, I think you can definitely get used to them and have some fun with it. Nice long athlete layup package is a card that I'm going to throw into S, no matter how controversial it may be, but I think Blake Griffin, when used correctly, could be an absolutely insane PG. Next up, Galaxy with Jerry West. This one is very easy for me. When it comes to, the 6'3" and under PGs, Jerry West is probably the best one that I've used, and it's not even close. So if you want to stay more traditional with the PGs, pick up this Jerry West, because Jerry West is 6'2", but has a 6'9" wingspan, which is just absolutely mad that he can have that. And amazing defense, amazing everything. Pick up Jerry West, absolute beast. Definitely does not get popped at all. I love that Jerry West card, but in the general term of PGs, he's definitely on the B tier. Next up, we have Diamond Cole Anthony. This one's easy. He's getting his ass down into a D tier. You know, Cole Anthony's Diamond card had potential to be great because obviously we got a second, LaMelo, who is pretty good. But then we got a second Cole Anthony who was just, that's tough. And even got a second Anthony Edwards who was really good. But sucks that Cole Anthony is down there. Just has like no driving dunk. His defense is okay and his jump shot is a little slow. But, is what it is. Next up, Galaxy Opal Glitch Lamar Odom. This one's very easy. S tier for me. I mean, there's no way that Glitch Lamar Odom isn't, into the S tier. He's just beautiful. 6'10", has that half quick draw on LaMarcus Aldridge base. He has amazing defense, amazing shooting, just amazing everything. Honestly, one of the top PGs that we have in the game, and top small forwards that we have in the game. He's just absolutely gorgeous. Pick him up if you guys have the MT for him. Next up, Galaxy Opal Stephen Curry is another difficult one to rank for me. I feel like the kind of ones that I always jump between are the B or the A tier. But the thing that's great about the GOAT Curry is the fact that he, doesn't really get pumped at all. Despite being 6'3", Curry has a 98 strength and has half moving chuck. So one of the biggest issues about shorter PGs is that they can't guard those taller people. But with his awesome 97 interior, that, intimidator, half moving chuck, all that sort of stuff, has great tendencies, 95 contest shot, 95 block shot, really low draw foul, and some really good dribbling moves. I feel like Steph Curry is good enough to throw into the A tier and do some work up there, if we're being honest. Next up, we have a Galaxy Opal RJ Hampton, who, if I'm being honest, was a card that I liked a lot better as a 2-guard. For me, I like the Hezzy a good bit. So his Trey base just felt beautiful off, catch and shoot, things like that. It wasn't exactly one that I was jumping to have in other things. So for me, this RJ Hampton has always felt, very A tier-ish, was not somebody that I think I'd pick as my first option to go in here. If it was coming from the net set, I would definitely, rather snag that Anthony Edwards. But I know a lot of people do love him because of that Trey brace, the kind of like T-Mac animations. But for me personally, I think RJ Hampton is in A tier. Not that he's a bad card at all, just his dribbling animations to me just felt a little bit lackluster. Next up, Galaxy Opal LaMelo Ball. This one is easy, S tier. I mean, come on, it's LaMelo Ball. He's an absolute god, absolute beast. Everybody that's picked up that LaMelo Ball card should love him because he is, in my opinion, the #1 PG. Magic Johnson can get out the way. LaMelo is just a gorgeous PG. Next up, we have the Galaxy Opal Cole Anthony, who is another one of those, I feel like, very, very mid-tier cards. Does everything really well, but has a slow jump shot. And that's really about it. Other than Cole Anthony being undersized and a slightly slow jump shot being John Wall's base, he is an amazing card that you got to pick up. Dunks at everybody, plays some really good defense, can still shoot the 3-ball great because although John Wall is slow, really the time, overall, really sick card. Next up, Galaxy Opal Pete Maravich, easy throwing up into the C tier. He's just, again, not a card that I want. Pete Maravich, I know a lot of people love his jump shot, and honestly, myself included. Pete Maravich has one glaring negative for me because he has that beautiful Ray Allen base, which is one of my favorite jump shots, but he's a 65 driving dunk. I cannot have my PG having a 65 driving dunk, especially at this point in the year, and that's why Pete Maravich just has to, he's got to get out the way because it's not fun. But next up, we have a Diamond Trey Burke. Obviously, everybody loves Trey Burke, but again, same scenario, only as like a 75 driving dunk, and he's 6 foot, so he can get his ass down into a D tier. Honestly, could be a great card because of that Trey Burke base, but he's just 200 size, and it's just really Next up, we have the Galaxy Opal Deangelo Russell, who is a beautiful 6'5" PG, but in my personal opinion, he just gets pumped a lot, and that D-Lo base is way too slow for me personally to be using. It's not something that I really want to use or will. D-Lo is going down to C tier for me. It's just ain't my thing. It ain't my thing. Next up, we have Galaxy Opal Walt Frazier. Beautiful 6'4" PG. Has an awesome jump shot, 81 jump shot, and even as an eval that, if I'm being honest, just increases interior defense a little bit, increases his block, which is awesome there. Awesome draw foul, some rebounding as well, and just gets a bunch of new badges. And I think that's one of the main things, including, half moving truck, a badge that he had gold that now goes to Hall of Fame. So post Evo, I think this Walt Frazier is honestly kind of a dog. One that definitely is getting slept on. I'm not hearing anybody talk about how great this Walt Frazier is, but is definitely very solidly into the B tier. I think for majority of people, you can pick up that Walt Frazier and do a lot, and I mean a lot of work. Next up, Galaxy of Chris Paul. I'm throwing him into C tier, but I will say Chris Paul definitely surprised me with how great he did play when I was using him. He honestly didn't get pumped too much, had a really nice jump shot that I found pretty easy to green, and overall was just doing work all around the court. So Chris Paul as a 6 foot PG definitely ain't too bad, but in the general scope, you don't be wanting running 6 foot PGs. It just is what it is. Next up, Charlie Scott, slow jump shot, not the greatest of defense. Overall, just a pretty meh card, not one that I'm jumping out of my socks to use. Definitely landing in the D tier for me. And next up, Baron Davis, also going into the B tier. Feels similar to like a Damien Lillard to me. You know, just isn't an amazing PG because of the size again. And that Damien Lillard jump shot is pretty slow. At this point in the year, everybody's getting out there and contesting jump shots super quick. So having that, that Lillard jump shot is a little bit tough. But his dribbling is amazing. His tendencies actually pretty good as well. He dunks in everybody, but he just gets pumped way too much for me to really want to throw him in game, because decent strength but no moving truck in the PG position sometimes it's just a death sentence. Next up, the Diamond Kobe White. Same story as the Diamond Cole Anthony, getting his ass down into D tier. Another one that can't really dunk too well. The jump shot is not too bad if we're being honest, but definitely not great. Something that we're probably going to want to avoid. Next up is Galaxy Opal Gary Payton. I've said this multiple times. Gary Payton is the best 6'4" and under PG, next to maybe like Walt Frazier. I feel like they're coming in, or Goat Curry, coming in very, very equal, and honestly really nice guard. He can dunk everybody's head. He has amazing defense all around, including that 98 strength, awesome rebounding, awesome speed. He can do everything on the court, and I think in saying that, he still is going to be a B tier. I feel like A is just a little bit too much of a stretch for a Gary Payton. I definitely love him and I think he's amazing, but I think B is all I can hold him for. But think about it in these terms, when it comes to the 6'4" and taller PG, or 6'4" and under PGs, I think Gary Payton is number one when it comes to the B tier, next to Jerry West. But these guys are kind of tied. Next up, Galaxy with Jaylen Rose. This one is pretty easy going into the A tier. Jaylen Rose even got a little bit of a Evo boost, if you guys didn't know, to make it just slightly better. It doesn't really do too much. Just makes him a little bit quicker, a little bit better defense, and a higher three-point shot. The badges just more defensive, including moving truck, and I think that's a big, big W. But jump shot 32 on Jaylen Rose sometimes can still be a little bit weird, and his tendencies are still pretty bad, so I think A tier is all I can throw him. I don't think Jaylen Rose is on the same as Lamar, Blake, or Mello, so gonna have to stay down into A. Next up, we have Big Diamond evoed up to Galaxy with Bill Walton. I'm throwing him into S tier. I really was not a fan of the Bill Walton card. If you guys go back and look at the Bill Walton gameplay that I did do, it was not too much of a glowing one. I said that he's definitely better as a center of the PG. You don't want to run him. And then he get an Evo boost, which increased his 3 by 21 points. The defense is crazy now. His dunking over everybody. His speed is significantly increased. Then he gets gold range extender, significantly better shooting. Gets like defensive leader on Hall of Fame. He gets handles for days on Hall of Fame. And his tendencies for contest shot and block shot are already insane. Has a good jump shot and jump shot 37. The same one as Ben Wallace, which is money. Really good dribbling animations for the full court and half court and the long athlete layup package. Bill Walton, as annoying as it is an S tier card. Next up, Galaxy with Kevin Durant. For me, easy going into the S tier. Kevin Durant can just do everything so beautifully. The defense is great. The dribbling animations are awesome. That KD jump shot is beautiful. Y'all know it. Going into S tier. And same thing with his counterpart, Jonathan Isaac, because you lock him in and you get a really, really good PG. I think Jonathan Isaac, honestly, is one of those guys that can play both of his positions, there we go, at a top tier. Same with Kevin Durant. I feel like PG and shooting guard, he's amazing. So if you wanted to run Kevin Durant at the 2, Jonathan Isaac at the 1, Isaac at the 3, and Kevin Durant at the PG, you're sitting there, you're looking beautiful, and I think it's going to be a really good time for you. Honestly, some really insane cards. Next up, we have the Galaxy Opal Dennis Johnson going into the B tier. Again, I'm talking about it. Really slept on card is honestly on the same wavelength as a lot of these guys and just doesn't get talked about enough. He's a really, really solid PG that he needs a little bit of love. A little bit of love, if we're being honest. Definitely a solid guy. Same going with Damien Lillard. I feel like solid there in the B tier. Lillard and Baron Davis are very, very similar cards. The jump shot animations are almost exactly the same. Lillard just has slightly better stats and badges. Barely better, but Damien Lillard definitely into the B tier. Next up, Magic Johnson fitting his way into the S tier. Obviously, the GOAT Magic is going to be up there into S. One of the best PGs in the game, if not top 3. My number 1 would probably be LaMelo, and number 2 could be Magic, and maybe 3 could be, the other Magic that we have, or Tracy McGrady for me personally. I feel like those are just the top 3 PGs that everybody's got on their list. Just unreal, and some of the top ones that we got here. Next up, Galaxy Opal Ja Morant. I'm also throwing into the B tier. I feel like that Paul George base is money on some cards, including Ja Morant sometimes, but isn't exactly somebody that I'm jumping out of my socks to get. It's very solid in the B tier. He does a lot of things well, but some things a little bit lackluster, including the fact that sadly he's only 6'3". Next up, Galaxy Opal, Pink Diamond, Wes Untell going in to the A tier. Would love an Evo on that 2K, by the way, making it Opal Wes Untell. Got the Gobi jump shot. 6'7", was center, but now is a PG. Absolutely insane. I love that Wes Untell card, and definitely one that I think people need to show some love for. Next up, Galaxy Opal Tracy McGrady, obviously going into S tier. One of the best cards we got in the game. Absolutely beautiful. Galaxy Opal Jason Kidd, he's going into the C tier for me. Might be a bit of a jump for some people, but I feel like there's one thing that I want to decipher between my D and my C tier. Jason Kidd, I can still find some utility out of. He still is an amazing playmaker, has some really good defense at 6'4", and I can hit the occasional 3 with him. These guys just feel like a complete negative on both sides of the court. They just don't really play too much defense, and on offense, you're probably not going to be doing too much with them either. So there they are. Next up, we have Galaxy Opal, Jeremy Lin, which is a card that we've had a lot of different opinions on. We got YBC saying he's A tier, absolutely insane. Other guys were like, wow, he's really just not that great. And if I'm being honest, Jeremy Lin is a very good card, but kind of fits in this, B to C tier realm for me. I feel like I love his jump shot and his animation, so I'm going to put him into B, but no higher than B. I don't feel like he can go. Next up, Galaxy Opal Lance Stevenson. This one is going into A tier. Obviously, Lance Stevenson is 6'5" PG. Awesome defense, like really insane defense. Has a really nice jump shot and insane shooting. Overall, seriously, awesome card. Next up, Galaxy Opal Trey Young is sitting there into the C tier. Trey Young is one of those guys where his defense is just so bad that you don't want to use it, and he can't dunk at all, which is really tough, but he makes a bunch of layups, and that jump shot is just so money. That base 107 is one of the best jump shots in the game. If you're good at timing your jump shots, throw Trey Young's base, or you can use it on Jason Tatum as well, and it is one of the best jump shots that you can really use in the game. Absolutely insane, just super money. Now, next up, we have another one of the controversial cards, I feel like, and that is Galaxy Opal Nikola Jokic. I feel like once you get that Evo done, although it takes forever, 100 steals, 100 blocks, and 50 triple-doubles, I do feel like it definitely makes him a little bit better as a PG. He gets, an 80 driving dunk, and now it's an 89 speed with ball, which if you put a shoe on that, you can get it up to a 92, which is great. Amazing defense once that Evo happens, and a lot better speed, which is really good. He gets Hall of Fame clamps instead, a bunch of really good badges like Pick Dodger and Pickpocket on gold. He gets Hoff Unpluckable, and overall is a pretty decent card, but obviously that set shot 18 is a little bit tough. But you can't ignore the fact that he is almost a 7-foot, PG. And I feel like, again, Jokic is one of those cards that sometimes I feel like he could be an A tier. Sometimes I feel like he could be a B tier. Sometimes he could even be a C tier. I'm going to throw him an A at the Opal. I feel like you could do some work with him, and you could just cheese up in the post against some of the taller, guards. But definitely not a card that I would recommend for the vast majority of people. Definitely fits a niche, playstyle. Next up, Galaxy Opal Draymond Green is going into the A tier. The only reason Draymond's up there, 6'7", insane defense, and can just, dribble at least pretty good. So Draymond definitely got to go up there. You got to love him. Is overall a pretty decent card. Next up, Galaxy Opal LeBron James, obviously going in to S tier. LeBron James is another one of those guys that just does a lot of things really well. Besides his scoop layups, he's actually a pretty decent card. When he gets those scuba layups, you're probably raging a little bit, and it does get a little bit annoying, but he's still an amazing card, awesome defense, and I think 6'9" at the PG, insane. Next up, Galaxy Opal Luka Doncic as a PG is just beautiful. I love this Luka. I know some people are trying to fight for him to go down in tiers, but Luka is just so beautiful. One of my favorite cards in the game. Just does everything well. 6'7". Overall is a beautiful, beautiful card. You gotta love him. Next up, Galaxy Opal Oscar Robertson, also going up into A tier. Same story as Luka, 6'5", a pretty good jump shot as well. Does a lot of good things well on both sides of the court, and you just gotta love him overall. You know, he just does all the nitty-gritty things for you. And next up, Magic Johnson, also in here when you get that Evo done as well, is a beautiful, beautiful boost. I'm pretty sure when you get that Evo done, it gives him Hall of Fame range extender, which is pretty nice. Y'all, you gotta love that. And like a 93 3-point shot, like a 1 boost. Nothing crazy, but definitely a pretty nice card to have. Next up, Galaxy Opal Kyrie Irving, who is a card that I feel like is almost... we're in that story of we're fighting between C to D tier. Now, Kyrie does have an Evo that boosts his defense and shooting just a little bit, but the thing is Kyrie is a 75 driving dunk. His tendencies are absolutely awful, and his jump shot is super slow. I feel like offensively, you can't really do too much with him. Defensively, once you get into the post, it's kind of tough. I'm going to throw Kyrie into D tier. I originally was thinking C tier for a little bit, but I definitely think we got to throw Kyrie down there and get his ass into D tier. He's too tough. Next, Galaxy Opal Ben Simmons, very easy into S tier. And same with the Pink Diamond Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's got to go up there into the S tier. Both of these guys are just absolutely insane PGs. Curry's got to find his way into C, as well as Tony Parker. And that finishes off our list. Now, the thing with Curry, obviously, this Curry just really is not great. But when you get that GOAT one, absolutely insane, really good animations. Tony Parker has an Evo that saves him from being a D tier card. His Evo saves him and puts him up into a C tier. But still not a PG that I would recommend picking off the token market. I was a waste of 750 tokens for me personally, but is what it is. This is my final list for all of our PGs in NBA 2K20 at this current point. We have actually anything insane, and if I'm being honest, I'd use any of these PGs in like B tier and above in my starting lineup. Like, they're all just absolutely insane. You know, Jerry West, Jonte Exum, Gary Payton, all amazing cards, and obviously the A tiers and S tiers are beautiful. Don't use anybody under C. Like if you guys did enjoy, comment down below what you guys think of my tier list, which ones you guys would change, and where you would move everybody to. Subscribe if you guys are new on that road to 6.9K. We're nearly there, so please subscribe if you guys are new. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see y'all in the next video.